Xena Warrior Podcast. My name is Vera, and I'm joined, as always, by my two aerodynamic co-hosts, Katie.
Hello.
And Livy.
Hi. Good word for this one.
Yeah, there's a lot of flying bitches.
Fly bitches flying.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we are here to talk about Adventures in the Sin Trade Part 2. Are you guys ready to talk about it?
Extra sinful.
Extra sinful. It is. It literally is extra sinful.
We didn't talk about this last week, but the title.
We talked about everything.
I know. What didn't we talk about?
We somehow went on and on for over 2 hours last week, but didn't mention why is it called this. Mm-hmm. Adventures in the Sin Trade.
Yeah, I feel like we wanted to, but then something...
We forgot.
We forgot because we fell over ourselves talking about everything else.
All the Lukes were just so distracting.
Go for it.
So yeah, it's a few things. We found an interview with RJ in the Chakram where he talks about the title and credits it to two sources. He's referencing a Dylan Thomas short story called Adventures in the Skin Trade, and he's referencing a William Goldman screenwriting how-to book called Adventures in the Screen Trade, which probably was itself referencing Thomas.
Right.
So RJ, I guess, paying tribute to both these cool things.
Yeah,
but what does it mean in Xena? Like, why?
Extra sinning.
Yeah.
And adventures in them. Hello.
Yeah, it's just literally talking about Xena being Xena in the past being terrible.
And it's like a trade. That's like her job. Sinning.
I mean, warlording, that's a bunch of sinning in a row, you know? Yeah. Like, the other thing that RJ says is that reminds you all that the first episode is called Sins of the Past. So, hence, it's all connected. This is literally...
These are them.
We're watching her Sins of the Past in this episode for sure. Lots of sins.
This one goes very far.
Yeah, these are the biggest sins we've ever seen Xena
Pretty
commit.
big.
All right, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. So, 402, Adventures in the Sin Trade Part 2. Teleplay by R.J. Stewart and story by R.J. and Rob Chiapert.
It's the same crew as Part 1.
Right. Director T.J. Scott.
Holla.
Holla.
But yet feels... different, but also the same.
But also different.
Whoa.
Let's get into it. We have opinions.
It's different in the sense that I feel like, I'm not sure if we kind of touched upon it when I was talking about how the first part is my favorite, and it's in my top 10, but this part goes a little bit further off the rails in that kind of sense. So it's like, it feels of a piece with the whole thing, but at the same time it becomes a little bit more conventional in terms of a Xena episode where it's doing, this and flashback and this and fight, which the first one was much more experimental feeling.
Well, reading about it, I think even T.J. Scott himself got this feedback where people really loved Part 1, and he himself loved Part 1, but Part 2 was, slightly, less. I was, thinking about it, and to me, I think I feel the same way, and it's literally boiled down to the Gabrielle plot is lost in this episode.
By design.
Yes.
She rejects it.
Right,
Xena.
but why couldn't it have been, she is off helping these Amazons, and yet you still hear Gabrielle voice being like, we're here now, once in a while.
Well, this time you get her head on a spider, and you get a single Xena tear.
The Xena tear was amazing.
That was amazing. No, but I do feel like it's important that she backburners it in the first one because she is choosing to stay with the Amazons. I think that is an important aspect of it, but because you don't know these characters as well,
and there's
it doesn't
feel
the same. The weight is different, so you miss the emotional intensity of the first one.
I still think, why not both? Why couldn't she be thinking about Gabrielle and wanting
She's
to?
always thinking about
Gabrielle.
but
we had literal presence of Gabrielle in the first one. And in the second one, her face is on a spider. I do not ask for that
the best.
At all.
It's not the best. All right.
Yes.
Let's do it.
So, this episode begins with some pretty great B-roll. It definitely had a strong start, I thought. This opening, this whole tease was kind of amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Not quite as great as the tease
No.
on part 1, but pretty damn great.
the girls are the Amazon girls and Xena, her little students. They are scaling like a hill. There's a lot of really gorgeous imagery. They're on location. They're picking some stuff, some like herbs or whatnots.
They have big, like, leafy tree branches.
Yes, they're definitely getting something together. And
They're building some kind of house out of them.
What?
Yeah,
No,
there's
they're
like
not.
a mound in the middle
Oh.
where they're like building a
But
thing.
Xena takes like a bunch and whacks.
Well, she's getting her whacker ready, yeah. But like a lot of them are just being used to make the house in which you get whacked.
Yeah. She says that to beat Alti and learn the new holy word, we have to have spiritual powers of our own. So this episode is definitely building the mythology around the new holy word.
This is like the most guessable plot line ever.
Yeah, that's part of the part 2 being a little confusing might be the right word. I'm not sure if that's actually the right word because I feel like you can piece it all together, but yeah, you basically know what the new holy word is going to be, but how exactly it functions and what it's for is a little
Considering how we don't hear about the holy word ever again.
clear. And then yeah.
To me, it's like the mythology is presented to you, but it's very incomplete. You just don't understand how things function, like how they fit together. I often just sort of went like, huh? Like, I mean, we're obviously not there yet, but when Alti summons the spirits, the evil spirits, to do her bidding, I was like, are those the Amazon spirits who are trapped
That's
in
a
the land of the
good
dead?
point. Yep.
Like, is that Cyan?
Right.
Like, it doesn't identify them. And
Yeah.
then later, Xena refers to those spirits as her demon friends. And I
Yeah.
was like, her demon friends, Xena, those are maybe the spirits of
Yeah.
the departed Amazons you're trying to save. So there's just all these, like, weird moments where you're like, I thought I understood what was going on, but now I'm just confused again.
Yeah,
Just
part
too
1 I
much.
love so much, and like part 2 I love a lot in more theory. Like I think a lot of stuff is interesting that's going on and a lot of themes and stuff, but I wish that it just gelled slightly so that like all the mythology really made sense and came together, which it doesn't quite. For me
Yeah.
anyway. If someone can explain it to me perfectly, then I'll be like, yeah.
Then we're going to buy you a drink because you're a genius.
So Xena, we mentioned her whacker. She
That's what they're called.
They're called that.
whackers.
Whackers. She tests it out, and there's a really
Switch.
a switch.
A switch. That
It's a bunch of tree bits.
Yeah, because, I mean, they're like not, when you see it in use, it's not really like being used as a switch. It's almost just being used as like a
It's literally what you would
dabbing
have.
cloth,
I
you
mean,
know?
like we're cutting to her going into the banyas,
Yeah.
right? So that's like a word that, I mean, it's like a bathhouse, right?
Yeah.
It's a Russian word for it. I, as a Russian person, have been to some, and
Ooh.
you definitely have like the little whacker.
Do they look like this, the banyas?
The one that my family had was a lot smaller,
Oh.
but as steamy, I think, but not as sexy.
You didn't sit inside it in your little brown leather dress and Uggs?
Oh my god, Xena's little Ugg boots are
That-
so cute.
Is exactly my outfit.
Oh my god, so good! You were doing your banyas experience right.
Right. So she does the switch, and it does a really fun cut to them doing Banya stuff
Yeah, well, she's hitting Oteri with the switch,
Yeah.
with the whacker.
with the whacker.
Inside the banyas.
Yeah, Oteri without a hat on has short hair. That was surprising.
Is this another, like, harbinger of Gabrielle's haircut?
You mean
Came,
Seraphine.
and she just changed the game for so many people.
Yes,
Everybody was
Joe.
just like, Seraphine made it look so good. I gotta get
Seraphine,
that hairdo.
Remember, was the gateway to the pixie cut. Yes, absolutely. And this is an interesting scene because Oteri kind of technically has a massive history with Xena. Kind of technically, maybe hates her.
Really doesn't seem to.
No, but like they have an awkward conversation.
Xena's worried she hates her, I think.
But also, Terry's like always like, there's something I should bring up. Possibly, I'm supposed to take your powers. It's a weird thing between them.
killed my dad.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I can't decide what to make of Oteri actor's way of speaking, and I can't tell if I really love it or if it's not like the best. Do you know what I mean?
It's really weird.
Subtle
Yeah.
and strange. I think I like it.
Yeah, it's not obviously bad, but there is just something off about it. Yeah. I can't tell if it's like, oh, this person is trying to feel sort of like
Aloof.
from a place, you
Yeah.
know, not from Southern California.
Oh, okay. I'm like, everyone else is from Australia, New Zealand.
I had the sense Otari actress is American. I haven't looked it up, so I'm just saying this based on my listening to her speak.
Okay. Well, whatever. The important part of this is that she asks if Xena hung out with the Amazons before, specifically in the Banyas. And boy, did she literally hang out with them.
I wonder
Oh, hardy hard.
if, like, hanging out with Cyan and the Banyas, Xena learned, like, chiropractor skills? That detail where she, like,
Yeah.
cracks her neck for her?
And then she says, like, a little bit more pressure, and this literally would have killed you.
Thanks for that, Xena. Very reassuring.
Yeah. So she literally hangs out with the Amazons, because what is she doing? We flash back 10 years ago. She is on the roof, and she's looking at some butts.
Creeper.
She is literally, like, her eyes are creeper eyes. They are wide. She's, like, grinning. It is not great.
Let's talk about this scene a lot, because there's a lot of butts.
Oh
in
my
this scene.
gosh. Are there butts?
Yeah. And they are probably not stand-in butts.
No, it's quite obviously not a stand-in butt, right? I mean, I guess unless digital trickery, but
I don't think they can afford. Did you see that spider? They can't afford any digital trickery.
well, they do the
They
same.
blew it on the spider. But
That spider CG was like incred.
They do the same shot as in Bittersweet with the
Right.
panning up the butt and then like to the face.
Right.
But here, the butt we think is actually connected to the face.
I think Vicky Pratt was very okay with showing her physique, as she's like she's not a bodybuilder. I forget what she is.
A fitness model.
Fitness model / bounty
slash
hunter.
body builder / bounty hunter
Yes.
/ published thriller mystery writer.
Oh, that's awesome.
Her novel is called Double Down. It's about a small town girl who's also a cop.
Amazing. She's the gateway to bodybuilder physical models being Amazons.
Oh, there will be
Varia.
more. Yes.
You can tell by how straight they stand.
Yeah, I mean,
posture.
I love how she just moves and stuff. You can tell
Yeah.
this actress is just so like with her body.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's awesome. She honestly looks like she could tie Lucy Lawless into a pretzel.
well, the camera is also with her body.
Yes.
Yes.
And this scene, I mean, it's very gazy. And I feel like there's two different versions of that. Where, like, yeah, it's pretty male gazy time to time. But then you also have Xena looking. And half of it is literally in Ken and Xena staring from above. So that's fun.
Yeah, and what would we say about the scene if it was Autolycus or Joxer?
I mean, yeah, that would be...
We would be like,
That's
no.
why she's a creeper up there.
She is a creeper.
What's she up to?
I do think, though, as the scene goes on and we get to the fun clothes stealing bit, you know, the fact that the character is given the power to clothe herself and disrobe
Yeah.
the
Each
person
other.
who spied on her,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that there is something kind of powerful
Yeah.
about that dynamic.
Yeah, totally fun.
The scene is amazing. So Xena falls through the roof because she's really bad at being a creeper.
That's true. She's not subtle about this at all.
And Cyan schools her.
Yeah, Cyan just kind of reaches out, takes the armor off Xena's chest and the little undergarment off Xena's chest. And I just love that all the little, like, snaps of the camera as she, like, puts this stuff on. As she puts on the armor. My favorite is when she puts on the little gloves.
Wrist warmers. When the wrist warmers come off and, like, pop, like, right onto Cyan's hands, Xena's face is like, what? Because that is the funniest part.
No one has ever been so excited about wrist warmers.
So now, what was this a reference to again?
This is
scene?
from a 1992 film called, its Cantonese title, translated into English, is New Dragon Gate Inn. It's a remake, or possibly a sequel, to a movie from the 60s, a famous movie called Dragon Gate Inn, which kind of kicked off wuxia. It's a big influence upon many of these other films that we've been talking about over the course of the podcast. In the US, this movie that has the bath scene is just called Dragon Inn, because I guess Americans don't like gates.
Or new.
Or new.
Yeah.
So anyway, the scene in Dragon Inn is very similar. You have Maggie Cheung and Bridget Lin as the two women in the bathhouse, one spying on the other, not quite so creepily.
From the hole in the roof?
From the hole in the
okay.
roof. Plunges down into it. They have a fight. There's the same clothing trade-off and a lot of flirtatious dialogue. I recommend going and at least finding this scene on YouTube because it is very gay and wonderful.
It is. And
Super
just
nice.
a clear reference and a great reference
Yeah.
to this scene in Xena.
I think Xena makes it even funnier. Like, all the camera movement is just so funny in Xena. All the, like, close-ups on people's eyebrows kind of going like, oh, hey, whoa.
There's a lot of really funny wuxia stuff in this episode.
Yeah, this episode is kind of chock full of the wuxia, which I think is maybe one of the reasons I don't like it as much, actually, as part one. It just doesn't feel as TJ to me. It feels a little more like TJ
He also
trying
agrees.
to do a thing.
He doesn't
Yeah.
like it either. Well, he doesn't like all the effects stuff. Maybe because he was forced to do the spider.
I mean, yeah. Someone held a gun to his head and was like, you put that girl's head on that spider.
No.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I am excited to watch this movie because we have it now. Because big shout out to our friend Nate who gave us a like treasure trove of
Yes.
all wuxia films ever.
And he made an amazing vid about wuxia stuff.
Yes.
He's Jetpack Monkey, and the vid is Uptown Funk.
Yes,
So
we-
check it out.
Tweet that out.
Part of why this is so cool, like from this moment to the credits, is that half of it is Xena being just super impressed with Cyan.
It's like a flirtation. You really
Yeah.
feel, even though it's, you know, Xena creeping on her and fighting her, you feel like it's sort of them being like, look what I can do. Oh my God, I'm impressed. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, she's literally never seen anything like this stuff. And it's like, she wouldn't have known that this was happening because she was just like watching a lady in a bathhouse. But like once Cyan starts doing her stuff, that's impressive.
I wonder if there's any connection to all of those Greek myths where people spy on goddesses bathing and get cursed.
Oh, interesting.
Feels kind of like a similar vibe here.
Well, in a way, she did.
She did get cursed. She literally got cursed. Yeah.
So after Cyan takes all her clothes, Xena kind of like runs out of that bathhouse in like a blanket
She
or
just
a towel.
grabs, I assume it's like the
a
robe that
Okay.
Cyan would have worn when she was done.
Yeah. And this scene is incredible. I thought this was an amazing, just visually wonderful scene of Xena sprinting full blast through the woods, and Cyan is chasing her.
I love this.
In the trees.
And yeah, exactly. So she is in the trees, and Xena's on the ground. And again, half of the scene is her running for her life, I suppose, but also just so into it, impressed. Like, this is, again, Xena coming upon a skill that she would definitely like to learn, something she's never seen before. And it's so impressive to her. So, like, the joy, there's like an amazing face journey happening for Lucy right there. Also, I just think back to how she had her accident in season 2 and, like, couldn't even run. And, like, look at her go. Look at her go.
What do you think of the effect of Cyan up in those trees?
I thought this was the best wuxia stuff that
Yeah,
they did
this
in
is-
this episode.
So impressive and beautiful, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, and an amazing cutting. Obviously, like, so much of this was impressive editing stuff.
Yeah, what do you call it? Parallel cutting when you're going
Yes.
back and forth to,
Right.
to
And
parallel
obvious- yeah.
runners.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And a really good, like, eye line for Xena, you know,
Right,
looking
looking
up.
up.
Yeah, I mean, it was very steady. She knew exactly where she was going to be, you know. Again, this was very impressive wire stuff that they did.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say later it was as impressive, but
Well,
here,
Well, that's
yeah,
like, this
it
is
certainly
more
was.
grounded in reality, right?
yes.
We're talking about that. Shout out to the stunt people in this, though. 'cause
Yeah.
It's super cool looking.
Yeah, her weight seems more supported by the trees here, which
Yeah.
is cool because you know she's on wires.
It's less flying around, just like,
Yeah.
"Rah, fly
It's
around."
literally, it just looks like somebody who knows how to run through trees. Like, legit.
I totally believe that Vicky Pratt can
do
run
that.
on the tops of trees.
That's how she bounty hunts.
Yes. Oh my god, that would work.
So she gets Xena and puts her, like, in a headlock. And that's the credits come on.
Da 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 da, Xena Warrior Princess.
How does she get out of that situation?
Deus Ex Barias.
Does he have a line here?
He like just kind of rides up and is like, "Hey, I'm
Yeah,
Mariah."
yeah, exactly. He's like, hey. And he promises to punish Xena.
That was sexy.
You imagining him punishing her?
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, the deal is that he was very, very cross that Xena went ahead and attempted to, I guess that was her assassination attempt on Cyan.
Was
creeping,
not a very good
and
one.
trying to fall on her from the roof.
I love that when Cyan stalks off, she like throws Xena's hat back down.
Oh
at
my
her.
god, yeah.
That was such a great detail. And then Xena puts it back on and like spends a long time like furiously fixing the bangs under there.
It had to look just right.
It absolutely did.
And then after Cyan leaves, she was like, I wouldn't let you punish me.
I know, I love that. I wouldn't let you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it says something about their power dynamic that Barias has to save face by saying this stuff like, oh, you know, she's my woman, don't worry. Or he doesn't even say my woman. He just says she's with me.
Yeah.
But you have the sense that he's kind of taking ownership of her and he's going to punish her, that she's his soldier whom he commands.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that Xena's just like, no.
There again, her face is just pure joy because she really wants to learn all those tricks in the trees.
I think we should hang with her for a while, Xena
Yeah.
says. Gotta learn everything this bitch knows.
I had a moment of just really loving how Xena's backstory is just all full of these cool women and like different women that she wants to learn things from, although she's in a weird period right now.
She's in a weird period, but it's great that she's torn between these two different women. And kind of, the subtext is that she's also torn between, you know, her memory of Lao Ma.
Are you you're only talking about this episode? You're not talking about like starting with
I'm talking about everything.
That's true.
I mean
like,
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Malala's been kind of forgotten, you feel.
I don't think so, because that was the first time we saw Xena go, oh my god, that's a
wanna
thing I want to
learn.
learn. I think that's very important.
It is. But somehow, you know, Lao Ma is floating over the
Lao Ma
scene.
taught her
Not
much
literally.
more. Lao Ma face going across the screen.
But yeah, I'm totally with you, Katie. Just the fact that Xena was made by all of these powerful, interesting women who, like a parade of them through her life, but also Caesar and Barias.
Yes, well,
And
of course.
Cortez.
Oh, shit.
Well,
no.
that is when you get all these like big epic 2-part things. What was it you said? Oh my god, it was so funny. Now I forget. It was just like every time you get these big revelations about Xena's past, it has to be in these 2-part info dumps.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know. It was just really funny at the time.
Well, Xena does not like talking about her past normally. Like,
Right.
you go
We'll
through
get into that,
Many,
yeah.
many episodes of the show in which she just like tells Gabrielle as little as possible. So then it's so funny when you have the debt or now Adventures in the Sin Trade, where it's just a giant flashback info dump.
Yeah, we'll start talking about that a
Yeah.
little bit more when we get into that.
Yeah.
So back in the Banya, Oteri and Xena have like another personal moment / revelation. This is where Oteri brings up how maybe Xena killed her father and maybe she can remember her as the small child that Bariah saved and whatnot.
Otari says something like, in some strange way, I owe you, like you taught me how to live, how to survive, something like that. And then Xena has this line where she's like, you know, if you learned anything from that monster I used to be, it's how to stay dead, to be numb to anything that's beautiful or meaningful. She then moves forward and says something really, really like, whoa, what the fuck? Which is, she can't ask for forgiveness, but she can ask Oteri to let Xena help her build a new life.
Like Gabrielle helped
that's
her.
what her friend Gabrielle did for her.
And then the scene goes even further into what the fuck territory because the music starts going like all romantic like or pointing to this moment as important. And then there's an exchange of looks between Oteri and Xena, close-ups, and there's like face journeys.
Xena goes on an interesting face journey.
Like, very confusing. Very confusing, guys.
But yeah, I mean,
What exactly is Xena offering Oteri? Someone explain this to me.
an odd moment. I love the idea that right now Gabrielle is gone. Xena is going to get back to that later, as she said in part 1. But it's great that this is in her, that she's like taking from Gabrielle and being like, this is what she did for me. I want to give this to somebody else. The just acting choices and music choice in the scene are very confusing as to like what's going on between them. They just met. I don't know what the hell is happening. It's a little strange. But then, like, when you do have her say this line, and then she has that, like, beautiful single tear and all that stuff, like, you know, you do feel like she is thinking about Gabrielle.
Oh,
She's not
absolutely.
thinking about Oteri
Okay, I don't know, man.
starting some kind of life with the Amazons.
I feel like
and
this
Oteri.
episode, again, working very hard. Gabrielle's dead. Forget Gabrielle, guys.
It's all about Oteri now.
Well, yeah, she's like, oh, this is her new protege.
She's a combo of Gabs and
Yes,
Callisto.
exactly. So hence, like, there's this moment in the episode being like, this is going to be the new, team. Get ready for Zoteri.
Jeez.
So anyway, yeah, it was just very strange, but we should really talk about Xena's amazing little crying
It's
moment.
beautiful.
She's
I love
just
that
so
it just feels
gorgeous.
so real and
Yeah.
raw. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just very natural. Gorgeous.
Yeah. I love that it's not like called out. She says this thing that just sounds very wise about, that's what her friend Gabrielle did for her. And then it's like after she said this wise thing, all the feeling comes up uncontrollably and the tear comes out. I just love that. The fact that you don't often see in these episodes, once Xena is kind of being like den mother to these little Amazon girls, she's very stoic. She's kind of being the strong one and the one who gives the orders. So these moments where she breaks, where you see the doubt and the emotional pain coming back, to me are really, really powerful and important.
Yeah, she whispers that they have a lot of work to do.
I know, no time for crying in the sweat hut.
So then she's just like, they're all outside now, all Xena and the Amazons, and she just gives Yakut the giant hat and is like, you're a shamaness now.
Yeah.
This is what I don't understand about like some of the just like mechanics of the episode.
Yeah.
It's such a great world. I love it up here in Northern Amazon territory, and I love all this like spiritual questing, and it's super fun. But I wish some of it made a little bit more sense. Like what made her just say, "Here's your hat, Yakut."
Yeah,
You're in
Yakut
charge
seems
now.
incredibly nervous.
Yeah,
Like,
Yakut is just like, oh no, I'm gonna barf.
it seems like they drew straws and she drew the
That's what it
short
seems
straw.
like, yeah.
Like, honestly.
And it's weird because we never see Yakut exhibit any kind of spiritual knowledge or aptitude.
It seriously looked like she was just chosen for this.
Just trying to do too much in 42 minutes, I think.
For sure.
Yeah, I would say neither Oteri or Yakut really are characterized. I mean, obviously Oteri...
We didn't even know Yakut's name the first episode
Right,
of
we
this.
learn it right
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
And then you have that problem where, like, we do kind of know her later on.
Right.
Yeah.
She's a returning character.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like when you go back and rewatch it, then you have to forget that you don't know that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's, you know what I mean?
But these episodes, I mean, in a two-parter, you hope that these side characters can register just enough to be
Right.
interesting. That was so great about The Debt, is you had people like Ming Tian and his father who just, didn't exactly like dominate the story the way Lao Ma did, but were important figures, and you felt like you knew just enough about them to make them
It's
interesting.
like harder for, you have Cyan, you have Yakut, you have Oteri, and they all have to stand out somehow.
Not to mention our big bad.
Well, Alti stands out.
Yeah,
I think.
Alti stands out. All that highlighter.
Alti could stand out even more. We'll get to it.
All right, good point.
All right, so Xena says, in order to defeat Alti, we must leave the prison of our bodies. And I forget who says, how do we do that? And she says, by the dance of the spirits.
Wee.
As
It's
you do.
like you do.
So they start doing their thing.
And it's similar to what we already saw Xena do with the drinking of the blood and the dancing around the fire.
Yeah.
And this is intercut with Alti doing just this.
So, like, Alti is just nearby doing the same thing
Yeah.
at the same time.
Well, I think she's in her campsite in
Yeah.
her giant yurt, which you see.
Yeah.
Zirt.
Yurt.
And I love that her dance around. She's lit a fire inside the yurt, which was like a terrible idea. Don't do that.
I think that's how.
Is that how it's done?
Certainly.
That you
keep
put a hole
warm.
in it
Yeah,
so that the
that's
smoke comes
that's
out?
how
Because I was
teepees
just
work.
imagining, see, I've never built a fire in a yurt. To me, I was just like, oh no, so much smoke. Ah.
No, it's totally cool.
She does this dance.
Yeah.
And the dance is a lot of arms, I would say. The arms are doing a lot of work in this dance, and TJ puts on his patented TJ shutter speed effect thing to make her look real trippy. And this is also where his title card comes up, which I thought was just the ultimate TJ thing. It's like
The ultimate move.
lady flailing with the shutter effect.
So Claire Stansfield gave an interview and said that this was like the scariest thing for her to do was dance by herself around the fire.
Oh, this is an answer to my question of, like, what did Claire think to herself when she got home from work that day?
She was very freaked out about doing it, didn't know what she was going to do because she doesn't know anything about shaman stuff, and was in a hotel room trying to figure it out. And she was watching, or a documentary was on called The Lonely Planet. So she was watching I'm on a Boat, the video. She was watching Jizz in My Pants.
That's Lonely Island, dude. Lonely Planet are those guidebooks.
Yeah, they're guidebooks.
It's okay. Guess what? I cut that out.
You're not
Don't worry
cutting it
about
out because
No,
it's
we
funny.
like it.
Don't
We
worry
like
about
it.
it. Don't
We're
worry
keeping
about
it. Keeping it, Vera.
Michael Bolton. Anyway, so she was watching this documentary, and literally whatever this part was about shamanesses in South America doing dances. So she was like, "Oh,
That works out.
I'll
Wow.
just copy them."
Very
right there.
serendipitous.
Okay.
And that's what she's doing right there.
Okay.
It's very fun. She's committing, as usual.
Yeah, no, she's great. I'm gonna say it again. I love her and wish there was so much more of her. We'll get to it.
Okay. So she does this crazy ritual where she pulls out from the fire these spirits, the enslaved spirits from the land of the dead. Maybe
Right.
the Amazons,
Maybe Amazons.
but maybe not.
We cannot tell who they are because they are spinning like tops, and they seem like they have like.
Little faces?
Well,
I think they're
they
people.
do.
They're
No, they
wearing
are.
furs.
They're
You can kind
they're
of see them.
Yes, but like they look like they're always showing like a midriff. So I'm like, oh, it's the Amazons. But then it's just they sound like men.
Yeah, they're all like,
Yeah, they have like male like screamy voices.
Kind of like the faces and, like, Ursula shrinks the
Yes.
souls.
Yes,
Are you
yes,
saying
yes,
these
yes.
are the poor, unfortunate
Yeah.
souls?
That she
You know,
fucked.
they're, like,
Yeah.
Just
little
like
and they
Ursula.
have weird faces.
Oh, yeah, I have a great, like, okay, so she's pulling out of the fire, like, before they start spinning around her, like, the little fireworks, first they're just, like, skull faces.
Yeah.
Like, made out of fire that are totally just, like, sperm.
Yeah.
Just, like, giant sperm skulls.
Yep.
That's my observation. There it is.
Good one.
That's like a running thing, I think, on this show.
Sperm.
No! the little ghost spirits.
Yeah, there's a lot of little
look
ghost
like
spirits.
that.
But these are the only ones that are legit just sperm that fly around and like then try to like penetrate people. I don't know what the metaphor why
What does Freud say about
what
this?
does Freud say? But that's what's happening.
Well, she definitely pulls out like 5 or 6 of these spirits out of the fire with her dance and asks the universe for their help and is like, spirits, if you do this, I will let you go freely into eternity or whatever. If not, fuck you. And so they're like, oh, they have to do this so they can, get what they want. So she instructs them to attack Xena and her friends.
Okay. There's some cool stuff in this sequence
Okay.
of craziness. Particularly, I love when stars and clouds and stuff are, like, speeding across the sky.
They do that in Legend of the Seeker. As
Cool.
well.
We.
Thanks, Ren Pick.
Aesthetically, I find that really neat.
Yeah. My favorite, there's one of like this gnarled tree that you see just as a black shadow and the stars flying past it. Really beautiful.
Yeah, it's really great. Well, that's like a time lapse,
Yeah.
and really great use of that, and just like so much crazy intercutting in this portion.
Oh my
'Cause
God.
the girls are dancing.
Right, you're going
Everyone
from
is
Alti
like,
to
yeah,
the Amazons,
everyone's
doing
dancing.
stuff.
And they started in the daylight, and it's now nighttime.
Yeah.
They dance all day.
And also this happens twice in the episode because, like, of how we'll get to this gets fucked up in a second, which I also find part of the too much happening business.
I mean,
in the
weirdly,
episode.
this whole episode is shaman dancing. Like, they're
Mostly.
basically. I feel like poor Yakut is dancing for like 30 minutes straight.
Oh boy.
Between this and like what comes next.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do really love how the editing is used to kind of like build to the intensity. Like the shots become shorter and shorter and shorter, and you're going back and forth from Alti to Xena to these nature shots, and by the end you're just like, I don't even know what I'm looking at anymore. I do think both these episodes do a great job of achieving trance state via filmmaking.
Right, but in a way, it's like maybe like too much.
I'm gonna say this is why I kind of this episode part 2 frustrates me. I don't know how much because I do love the whole scene trade 1 and 2, but I love part 1 so much that like I do feel like when we're talking about the crescendo of editing and achieving these trance states and stuff, this one is like Spinal
good.
Tap turn it to 11, you know, whereas I feel like the other one was at 10.5, which was like perfect. And this is like just the notch.
This is
It just goes a notch too much.
I definitely feel like this is a repeat of the one in part 1, and it's hard. I think the reason it has to go to 11 is because the other one was at 10.5. And I think the real question is, do you really need this many trance dances in your episode?
Right.
You can have two. You can have that first one, and you can have the one that makes it be the end, the last thing, which is Xena versus Alti. You don't need one where random spirits attack their bodies, and then it's like broken.
The
like,
one at the end isn't even a trance dance.
That's what I mean. They should have saved it. Like it should have been. First part had one, last part has one. You have 2 in all. Like you don't need like 3 crazy. There's a lot going on.
just
So
There's
like
a lot
what?
of
So
dance.
what happens? So Algi's bad.
The spirits attack.
come and attack them.
Yeah.
And everyone like passes out.
Right, because they're
the end
ready
of
to
this
go
one.
into the spirit world.
Yeah.
where
Well,
they will
I
try
love
and
Xena
do.
pops out and is like, come on, guys, come on. And I love that Oteri kind of comes out and is like, whoa, what's going on? And then goes back in.
We would be remiss if we did not shout out the Evil Dead camera work. Do love a good Evil Dead
Gotta
across
do
the
it.
ground camera for your badness coming your way. Super fun.
The badness possesses the other Amazons.
Right,
So
so they
it's
start-
literally Evil Dead.
Yeah. Sorry. And then they start fighting Xena.
So Xena has to plunge back into her body so that she can fight off her own little Amazon friends.
Yeah. And they don't do what they wanted to do. And this was a literally wasted day.
Yep, wasted day. But at least they, expel the demons.
Yeah.
She's very proud of them. I love when she's kind of like leaning over Oteri and Yakut and is like, Yakut, you did so well. Oteri, that was great. I was like, oh, I love all this affirmation from Lucy Lawless. I want this. I want Lucy just being like, Livy, that was good podcasting. You did so good.
Don't tell everyone. She calls us afterwards every time. So Xena, this is like the next day, now knows that Alti's power lies in like the area where it's the big land of the dead for the Amazons.
Yeah, well, the resting place, the land of rest, which I guess is like the graveyard where they bury their dead.
Or just leave them.
Leave them. Yup.
I have a very important note that just says, gorgeous lipstick.
Yes, I have it as well. Xena's pale lipstick.
Must be true.
Well, because she has a much more intense eyeliner happening and the pale lipstick, it just is a very good look.
It's beautiful. I really just like, there are moments, I think this actually is one such moment where you just are not even concentrating on anything happening in the scene.
No,
You're
I have
just
no
like,
idea.
the face is just so perfect.
Yeah,
right
because it's
now.
like gorgeous light. Everything is just
Is that why I
perfect
never
about
know
it.
what's going on in this
'Cause,
episode? She
yes,
just looks so beautiful.
She looks insanely good in this episode and the one before this. Well, all right. So again, they arrive and she's like set up a perimeter and put charms around. So we have again another another dance
Yeah.
off and like lots of dissolves of doing stuff.
No,
Just
hanging up
there's
animal
a lot,
bones and
yeah.
pouring blood on it.
Yeah, Coot's dancing again.
Daytime, nighttime.
It is, and I think the music, it's the same chanting music.
Yeah.
This
montage.
time, they have a charm ring.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
That's better. That way the
spirits won't
evil
attack
sperm
them.
can't.
Yeah.
It's like a diaphragm. They're just, it's all good.
Oh boy. But I think the Warlock beer, 9% alcohol is kicking in.
for a little bit.
No.
Am I talking about demon sperm too much?
A little bit.
Oh my god, my note again is Xena's pale lippy.
It's really good.
Well, this part is really funny because you see this, all the Amazons being busy bees, putting up this charm ring. They're working really hard. And then you see Xena who's just sitting and staring. And they go up to her and they're kind of like, "What's up, Xena?" And she's like, "Quiet, I'm having a flashback."
Oh my god, it's true. It is true because, like, she is looking off into the middle distance. Like, she's having a flashback.
Yeah.
It is a little funny.
So we're now in the flashback, and Xena is hanging out with Cyan.
Okay, let's go back to how we were talking about the info dump stuff, and let's work through it a little bit, because she is just kind of telling all these people who she doesn't really know a lot of stuff that's very personal. We kind of worked out that, even with Gabrielle, she kind of only tells stuff on a need-to-know basis. When the stuff in the debts came up, it was because someone came and was like, "You have to go to Chin now," and so this kind of made Xena have to tell her this story to have Gabrielle, like, make a decision if she wanted to, like, come with her or not, etc., all that jazz. And you kind of feel like the Amazons here do have a right to know all this stuff about what went on, so I guess I don't really have a problem so much with her saying stuff, but I also do, in the sense that it does feel plotty, in the sense that she is like, "You have to know this," and then she's like, "Okay, you've heard enough," and then a little later she's like, "I gotta tell you a little bit more." Like, as the episode goes on.
Yeah, it feels
It's a
very
little
artificial.
odd, yeah.
I think my problem with it is that I don't feel like the Amazons care.
Oh.
Like,
You don't
she
think they'd want to know, but, well, here we were working out, like, where do they live? Like, how close are they to this area? It seems like they never saw this, even though it's like the resting
Yeah, and like
place
what
of-
were they were children when this happened?
My
So-
sense is they just have been really cut off from their own history. They don't
Yeah.
know their own traditions.
So they should be interested.
I think they're interested, but at the personal stuff about Barias and Gabrielle and all the emotional underpinning of these flashbacks. I don't think they understand.
Wouldn't their like moms have been these Amazons?
That's true.
Like some of
Yeah.
these people.
Presumably.
It's weird. I don't know.
There's just, I don't know, for me there was something missing. The debt is so powerful because there is a mystery there that Gabrielle is desperate to solve.
course.
Here you're kind of like, okay, more information, okay.
Hey,
Hit us with it.
Hey, I have a question about Terry. She's from a village. She's not even
Right.
from the Amazon.
Well,
Yeah.
this is, yeah.
That's how the Amazons get new Amazons, is adoption.
They also birth them.
I guess so, right. They find the men's.
They also have centaur babies.
Oh, you're right. Yes. But yeah, she's given by Barias to Cyan. I'm not clear on the timeline, somewhere in between Xena making a deal with Cyan and Xena murdering Cyan. Cyan tops Oteri for 10 minutes.
Oh boy.
Okay, so Cyan wants Xena to be an Amazon. She's kind of like trying to recruit her.
It's an interesting pitch.
True, and this is also
great
something
pitch.
like that kind of goes all the way back to Hooves and Harlots,
Yes.
where you're not quite sure her relationship with the Amazons, and yeah,
You always felt, even back in Hooves and Harlots, that there was a lot of self-loathing tied up in Xena's reaction
Well, it
to
turns
it.
out it's because
She actually
she's
murdered them
responsible
all.
for
And maybe
a
broke...
lot of badness.
Yeah, she might have broke the whole dominance of the Amazons as a
It
people.
seems that way from
I guess
the
so.
dialogue in this episode.
Yeah.
But these are just northern ones.
Yeah.
But she made it sound like after that there were just scattered tribes, as if even the Amazons we've met were kind of broken off from this main group.
Pretty intense.
Yeah.
It's
But
a little
again,
unclear, but the dialogue seems to
Okay.
imply that,
All right.
which is a lot.
so Cyan's pitch is basically like, you have the potential to be the greatest of woman warriors. I was like, drop the woman, Cyan. She's just the greatest. That she's at heart an Amazon, that she should join them. And he was like, oh, you think I'm like, you know, I deserve better than Boreas. And Cyan just starts like dissing her, which I thought was a really funny way of convincing her to join them.
I loved all the words that were coming out of her mouth.
I
She
really
used-
like Cyan.
You like her?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, she's
I
great.
loved
Yeah.
her, and I wish that we had way more of her. But she kept using the word murderer,
Yes.
and it was just so good.
We've never heard it in relation to Xena in these flashbacks before. It was interesting to hear Xena call herself a murderer
Yeah,
before she has her redemption arc.
yeah. It was just it was very startling, you know. It was because they were using it just so casually.
I'm already a murderer, Cyan. God.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you know, if we compare it to our like drug or alcohol metaphor, it's just like stating a fact, like you're an alcoholic, you know, something like that. And I don't know, it was just very, very new to hear it like this.
And I really sensed Xena's vulnerability in this moment. It got through to her. Xena didn't like having to declare this. You know, my kid's gonna have to live with the fact that I'm a big old murderer.
Yeah.
And like, you can't change that. Like, that's what I'm always going to be. You feel that in Xena's reaction.
Yeah.
And she seems sad about it. I think Cyan is getting through to her.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, Alti is such a huge force, right? That it kind of sucks because I feel like Cyan, her thing that she wants for Xena is slightly easier for Xena to maybe achieve than what Lao Ma was trying to accomplish, you know? Where Cyan is just like, just come live with us and we just live for each other and, you know,
Yeah.
do that.
Being a murderer is living for yourself.
Like,
I mean, that's true.
Not murdering is living for each
Yeah.
other.
so it's kind of like, you know, and you feel like Xena maybe could have done that, but not at this point.
She's she's so bad at living with other people.
Yeah, exactly.
That, like, it is hard to imagine,
Yeah.
like, either her being Lao Ma's warrior princess or
Right.
her hanging out
Well,
with...
like, yeah.
Cyan.
When, like, giving up all desire and
Right,
whatnot.
that was a
Listen,
huge
listen,
program.
A
guys.
lot.
Lao Ma's pitch is like, you have to do a juice cleanse every single day for the rest of your life.
No thanks, Lao Ma.
And Cyan's pitch is like, well, you just have to, you
Go
know,
to meetings.
moderately
Yeah.
drink.
Oh, boy.
Wow. Vera, I know you really love this shot when Cyan
did.
stalks away and you
Yes.
see Xena in close-up.
Yeah, because Cyan is literally like, I just gave you my pitch. You decide. And then she leaves. GTFO's out of there. And Xena's kind of like, damn, I'm thinking about it. And she stands there. The camera does this amazing, like, pullback on her. And she just gets smaller and smaller in the frame. And that dissolves into Xena staring into the middle distance, ending the flashback.
Sorry, I just got lost in my own train of thought about how, like, I kind of implied Xena could live with the Amazons, but she could never do that. And that's, like, literally an episode later. I
Yes,
take
it
it
is.
back.
She wishes she were the sort of person who could.
Yeah, I think maybe that's
Yeah.
the point, yeah.
So we go out of the flashback only to go right back into it.
Right?
They keep doing that this episode, and it's very intrusive and annoying. So, okay, Xena stomps off from having this meeting with Cyan and immediately gets accosted by Alti,
Yeah.
who's like, no.
Yeah, she's very worried that Xena was gonna say yes to this offer.
Alti's like, I'm gonna hand you the rose, okay? You're gonna take my rose, not Cyan's rose.
And then Cyan comes over, and this is like the most interesting little moment.
Jesus. This part is maybe the most hysterical part of the episode for me. The Alti versus Cyan fight.
Yeah, it's like a face-off.
It is a face-off.
Yeah.
They do faces.
Like, okay. I, again, stress. I do love this two-parter. But holy hell, this is fucking hilarious. Just because I think that Alti's power and these powers that they have and like whatever it's implied that Cyan can do to be more powerful than Alti, like the whole thing of how Alti can do this like mind fighting stuff with people's memories and future. It's so cool. Of course, you're gonna have stuff for Xena that we can show, but like here we have these two fighting each other with their brains, and they're not gonna shoot anything for this, and they just like instead do it in close-ups that get like increasingly edited together crazily of just staring at each other making insane faces.
Yeah, it's like a crazy like constipation face.
Oh my god!
Just
Yeah,
nuts.
the cords in their necks are straining, and like whenever Cyan does it, she kind of tilts her chin up so that the camera seems to be like flying right into her nostrils.
Right. Yeah.
It's quite a look.
Yeah, I mean,
Sure
yeah, there's some real silly stuff in these.
My favorite is the cuts to Xena watching as if it were a tennis match.
Oh
She's so
my
excited.
God,
She's like,
she's
this is so
so
cool.
into
She's like
it.
so excited about it. Yeah, really funny.
I guess it's meant in part to seem like a duel in a western. You know, the two gunfighters.
Yeah, they're having this like spiritual duel, like they're in a western. It's such a cool idea, but this does not quite translate in a way that is serious enough for my personal taste. But however, it's so funny that I love it.
Yeah, it is the funniest moment, maybe. Well, no, Spider Face is the funniest
yeah,
moment.
Spiderhead, for sure.
Yes.
So Cyan wins.
Cyan does win.
She brings Alti to her knees. And then her butt.
Sexy, both of those things. Yeah, and she's like, side with us and you find life. Side with Alti, you find death.
And Xena's like, I choose death.
She's like a thinking about it face.
Yeah.
She is. Apparently she's thinking about it. Alti, we skated over Alti's very convincing pitch, which is, you can go fuck up Caesar if you side with me. Which I think immediately that she's speaking Xena's language. Poor Cyan is just
Doesn't know
how to actually appeal to Xena's deepest and selfish desires.
Right. So we exit this flashback, and now it's bedtime for the little Amazon group. Everybody's supposed to sleep in a circle.
Back to back?
Yeah, something like that.
I was confused how that would look.
And Xena goes night-night. Oh, she very helpfully reminds everyone that Alti can enter the spirit of anything that's living. Okay, good night.
So there's a spider.
It's a spider.
It's here. Then it like leaps onto Xena's face.
This is when we were watching it for notes, and you were like, "Oh no, is this Gabrielle Spiderface?" Of course it is.
Yeah,
of course it is.
I don't like spiders, so it was like really not great in general. And then it was like Gabrielle face, and that's worse than staring at a real spider.
In my research, I never found any reference to whether or not this was a real spider.
It is.
It
I
is.
think.
The one that's on her face?
Yeah, shades in her mouth. Oh yeah.
That's for sure. Dude, Lucy would totally do that.
Yeah, I saw it, I feel like.
Oh, it's true, because there was a shot with the spider
She's
going
just
in her
like,
mouth.
"Ah!" She's like,
Yeah,
no,
and they were like, "Ooh, we got that, but we didn't use it."
Somebody talk about Gabrielle Spider.
Vera just,
please.
will not do it.
Pretty funny. It's like
I
a
can't
special
believe they did.
effect
I
that
cannot believe they
distracts-
did that.
Listen, it's a distracting special effect that again is pulling me out of these favorite episodes of mine.
Why did Robert
I
go?
gotta point out that this is the first time we've seen Gabrielle all season. Like, her face.
On
Yeah,
the fucking
it is on a spider.
It's on the spider head.
And
But
then,
then she becomes a beautiful, like,
she becomes a
wave
floating
thing.
fairy, like,
Wraith.
weird.
She's got, like, the
situation.
music video Wind. It's very pretty.
But it's also just like you could see Renee just hanging there on the wires.
Xena.
Yeah. Ooh, why did Robert think this was good?
I mean, he didn't. He certainly
Later
doesn't
doesn't.
now.
Some stuff is fun on paper.
I don't think it's fun to go, And then there's a spider.
Spider.
It has Gabrielle's face.
I don't know. Yeah,
No.
you're right. I don't know.
What's a good version of that? What did that look like to be like
Just
good?
the fucking dream Gabrielle.
No, I'm saying how do you do spider
You don't
head
do it.
in a good way?
You don't do it.
Just-
You don't have that idea.
Just don't do
You
it.
don't spend a fuckload of money on that CGI.
It reminds me of that baby thing from Toy Story with the baby head on the spider. Know what
Oh
I'm
yeah,
talking
the
about?
robot.
Yeah,
That's
that robot
scary.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be scary. Maybe.
This is silly.
This robot thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
No thanks to this. Just no, nothing about this was good. I hate it so much.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Why doesn't Alti know who Gabrielle is?
It's so confusing.
Who's
Why
the
doesn't she
blonde
know?
one?
Here's my retconning of it.
Okay, yeah, no, explain.
She doesn't. She can perceive the existence of Gabrielle, but Alti herself is so far removed from everything that's good and innocent and pure that she doesn't understand like what she sees. She doesn't understand her significance or who she is in Xena's mind.
But she knows Lama.
Well, she knows Lama because Xena fucked that up, and maybe didn't, couldn't
And
fully
fuck-
love
like it's
her.
Fuck
Gabrielle's just essence is so beyond Alti's realm of understanding that she can't figure
Yeah.
out her place in Xena's life in these.
And maybe Xena's
memories.
almost protecting it.
Yeah,
Xena's
yeah,
Xena's
well,
locking it
apart.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's that.
Interesting,
Yeah, she
okay.
definitely locks up the
Cool.
importance
Cool.
of Gabrielle. The light.
I like
The
it. No, well,
light.
that's what I mean. Basically, Xena says that she says she's goodness and innocence, and she frightens you because she's what can defeat you. So
Then Alti's like, well, guess what? I'm going to show you something. that
So wait, I forget. She came out of the spider. Like this is Alti.
Well, Gabrielle
or this is
popped out of the
spider.
spider and then turned into Alti.
Okay,
so
yes.
Alti was in the spider, yes.
All right. Yes.
Alti says she's going to show Xena something. She's like throttling her and shows her a flashback to this yurt times. Just
Yeah.
a sexy yurt time.
now
was
listen to
good.
me. I love how Brias and Xena look in this shot of them sleeping because they look very cozy, and I like it.
They're incredible. And then yet their first scene in this episode, he tried to smack her in the face to quote unquote punish her.
He's not good.
And she was like, bitch, you're not doing that.
They're not. They don't have. I mean, their dynamic
It's
is
very
interesting.
fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
there are
bad.
moments like this that seem almost
Yeah.
loving, but then it's always undercut by something or other.
Yeah.
Alti literally flies in.
She's
like
an evil
hovering above
Tinkerbell.
them.
And
Oh, evil Tink.
something went wrong with the compositing here, because, yeah, she looked really small to me. It's like a little Alti.
That's why she's an evil Tink.
Yeah, she's an evil Tink. With the voice of the aunts from The Simpsons.
Oh my god, that is legit. She's Patty and Selma.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So she put a curse on Solon.
Yeah, this is really upsetting.
He will never know the love of his parents.
And he doesn't.
I mean, I guess he knows
I
Xena's
know.
love, just not
Yeah.
as his mom.
As his BFF, cool lady.
But also he, is in the Elysian Fields or Tartarus or somewhere nice.
He
right?
definitely knows that
I
she's
forget
his
where
mom
he
at
is,
some
but
point.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's listening to her, and
Yeah.
he knows her
He
love.
definitely
Well, he
knows it
knows
now.
her
Yeah.
love
Now.
after
He's
he's
dead,
dead,
yeah.
which is very upsetting.
Very upsetting. That's true. That still seems kind of cursed. Poor Solon.
And then Alti Spider bites Xena.
Just felt like such a non sequitur.
And then she just like crushes Alti with her hand.
She crushes the spider, and Alti flies away.
Yeah.
So now Xena-
that would be interesting if that was just the end of Alti. She just
Spider crushed. So Xena, I guess because of the spider bite, is
Yeah.
poisoned and won't wake up the next morning.
Yeah, and there's a really great
wow.
scene.
I don't even know if I registered that.
Yes, she's like passed out. There's some blood on her face. It's not great because again, spiders. And this one, don't forget, had Gabrielle's face one time. But the next morning, there's a really cute scene where Oteri and Yakut come over, and they kind of
I
are
love
like,
this.
"What's wrong with her?" And Yakut's like, "Maybe this is the prophecy. Maybe now you're supposed to take, like, maybe now you have her powers because she's like dead here." She's
Yakut
like,
punches her.
yeah, she's like, "Do you feel different?" And Yakut does the little face
Yeah.
punch. It was a little shippy moment.
It's really
It was
cute,
very
and
cute.
it's just like you're cute. You're
You're cute.
You're cute.
She is, you're cute. Yeah.
Your Coots delivery of that, like, no, you don't have her powers. Like, if you did, I never would have got that punch in. Number one, adorable because the little accent comes out.
Yeah, it's cute.
But it's just like you can see the like friendship between them. It's definitely shippy. Like, it's just a sweet moment. It came across a few times in some commentaries and stuff in the reactions to the episode that like that was really funny. People like that for this episode because like the first one was so like upsetting and sad. This one was like a little lighter.
Right,
But that's
but
kind of like the only moment. So
if
I
they
don't know.
wanted to build like a legitimate number one characters and to relationships between them, like to show life before Xena came there. I mean, the first episode, all they did was just like talk serious about wanting to kill Xena, and nothing amongst themselves about their own lives or anything. This was like a little glimpse into how they are without us, the viewers, watching them.
Yeah, I could have used more of that.
Yeah, for sure.
So the Amazons put Xena passed out on a litter, fastened that litter to Berserker's black
Yeah.
horse, and pull her along the steps for a while. She wakes up and fills us in on Alti having cursed Solon and explains
Shouldn't
her
they be
reasoning.
like, who's Solon?
I know, they should be like, A, who's Solon? B, what happened to Solon? C, why did Alti do that? Which they do actually ask.
Okay.
Because it
She
doesn't
does-
make sense.
I mean, I do believe she says my son, which is
yeah.
clear.
That's true. That's relatively clear. And they do ask, like, did the curse work? And she says, yes. And you're like, well, no.
Yeah, because if Xena saw the light of a child's face,
Flashlight face.
flashlight baby, she would definitely only be good.
Yeah, that Alti was
Very worried
that like her
yeah.
influence would be basically broken by Xena
Right.
saying like
Having a
knowing
kid.
the love of a child,
Yeah.
her own child, and yeah.
She has to break up this little family that's developing. Xena, Barias, and Solon.
So they arrive at the Amazon resting place where Alti is getting her powers from. And what do we see? There's just skeletons everywhere. In the trees, like on the branches, just like everywhere.
Yeah, mostly in the trees.
Yeah,
All
all
in
in
the
the
trees.
trees, really. And then they come across like this like pile of bones on a tree, and you're like, that's what's left of Cyan.
And you can see the headband. That's how you know that's the Cyan skull and bones. I love all these shots of them going through the forest. You have this great smoky light coming through in these beautiful soft beams. And this, to me, the music here sounded Chinese.
Yeah,
A little unclear why, other than the
Yeah, it's like-
obvious debt to the wuxia movies.
right.
But
Yeah. That might be the reasoning. Yeah. It does feel slightly out of place for
yeah.
right now.
But I mean, it has a certain peacefulness.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly in mood it fits. But
Yeah,
it just
it's
seems
interesting.
odd that they couldn't find something that maybe fit the place better. I don't know.
Some Russian balalaika.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you should be scoring this, Vera.
no. So once they find Cyan's bones on the tree, they want to do something to honor her and all the rest of these Amazons. So they do this like salute. That's basically like the Caesar salute, but you tap twice on your heart. So the little girls want to do the same thing for Xena, and Xena's like, no. It's okay, guys. Don't do that for me.
Don't tap your chests at me.
And we go into another flashback
Yeah.
to show us why Xena doesn't want this honor.
Basically, she crashed someone's funeral in the past. And
Yeah.
it was like the most awkward funeral crashing ever.
Xena rolls up to this funeral and does the Caesar salute, the one tap.
Yeah, the one time.
And she
At
does
the
it in
girls.
this like, oh, hey guys, I
Yeah.
got it right, didn't I? Can I join the glove? Yeah.
And they're like a little bit like, why are you here? And she's like, well, you asked me to be an Amazon, here I am. And Xena's like, this is a little awkward because it's like us elders.
Cyan's like, you can't sit with us.
Yeah, there's a ritual, you're not wearing pink. And then, they're like, well, we're doing this ceremony for this Amazon who we found dead. Like, what happened to her? And Xena's like, oh.
The little redhead.
The little redhead? The one I killed?
When she said the little redhead, I couldn't help but think of like
Scully.
season 1/2 Gabs.
Oh.
Guys, she's always blonde. We just don't talk about it.
She's always little.
Yeah, but I mean, this is really important. This is Xena coming into the sacred space of the Amazons and just being like, this Amazon you thought fell out of a tree, I killed her. And I killed her for sport, which is not something you've ever really seen or heard from Xena up to this point. This is very dark and very interesting, I think. And I think that this is probably the only time that this has really happened when she's under Alti's sway.
So this is like the worst Xena we've ever seen.
I think, to me, it kind of feels that way. I don't know. Do you disagree?
What about everything we saw in the Dead?
I think a lot of that is not great either. But she does a lot of murdering, as she says. She is a murderer. But the idea that she just came in and killed some young Amazon women for no reason, is maybe the worst thing so far.
But of course, the reason she did it is to provoke the other Amazons. But it does feel very just cruel and pointless.
Right. I mean, yeah, of course there is that as like a reason, but like, I don't know.
Yeah. First, the fact that she describes it as for sport, which is just so cold and inhuman.
Yeah. So you really can see that she's gone fairly far over to Alti's side.
I wish we saw more of that.
Yeah, that there should have been a little bit more in terms of what Alti did to convince her.
Why didn't we see a scene where Alti says, you should go and do this? You know what I mean? Something like that.
Aside from the one, you really get the one where it's like, I'll make you this.
Right, you have that. Right, exactly. But this is not specific. Like, we just needed a little bit more. I mean, my number one complaint is, like, I wanted more Alti-Xena interaction. I keep saying we'll get to it because we will get to it because it's, like, later. But, yeah, I want more. And I needed that scene. Because of how I cannot differentiate, like, how is this different than her killing, like, that guy who Baraya spared in the beginning of The Dead? You know, she puts his head on a spike. Like, how is this different than,
I don't know, you're right. I mean, yeah.
We just need to see, we needed to see Alti kind of say stuff.
I think it's just the attitude.
Yeah.
That it's, you know, Amazon women.
Right.
Yeah. And that she kills so many people all at once, which it does, just the cumulative awfulness does make it feel worse and worse and worse.
Well, she set up all these traps right here. Like, this was, like, planned out. So she provokes them with this line and takes off into the trees. She's like, I'm going to out-Amazon you guys.
Out-Amazon the Amazons is quite a fun line.
Yeah. And they come chasing her, and she unleashes all these traps. She has, like, all these spiked tree branches, like, ready to go after she cuts a wire. And she just, like, starts throwing them against it and impaling them on these trees.
And she even says that these are tricks. You know, she's cheating. She isn't even really honoring them by encountering them as a great warrior fighting other warriors. She's just, like, rigged up this trap for them, and they all fall into it. Until only one is left.
Cyan. And I thought this could have been a lot bigger.
This is such a weird fight.
Yeah.
It starts off awesome because you have, like, the stare down. Cyan on one tree branch being like, and Xena points a dagger at her in this way that I thought was so perfectly Warlord Xena. It was so, like, playful and sinister and great. But then she says, you know, I don't need this. I don't need tricks. I'm going to beat you fair and square. And they have this fight that's, like, 5 seconds long.
Yep. It is so fast. It's insane because, number one, we have seen Cyan many times in this episode be set up as this amazing, like, number one fighter Amazon with all these tricks and skills. Like, have we seen Xena be practicing any of this? No, we haven't. We don't know what she knows how to do yet. Cyan freaking defeated Alti with spirit stuff. Like, I don't know. It was just too fast. We didn't see her defeat her in any way that was set up for us. We didn't see her learn anything.
Yeah.
To out
it doesn't feel like
Cyan.
What? She just, like, literally kind of catches Cyan's arms and flips her.
Yeah,
That's
and she
it.
goes into the tree branch.
Or rather, she flips herself, and then the force of the momentum throws Cyan into the tree.
It just seems like something Cyan could take care of easily.
Yeah, and we've just seen Xena do this move also just a million times on, like, random warlords,
Yeah.
and goons, and it usually doesn't destroy them so
Yeah.
utterly as it does with
Like, it would have been
Cyan.
cool to see her do maybe, like, the pinch on her, because that's something that Cyan doesn't know.
Right.
She's never encountered
Oh my
that,
god,
you
and
know what I
using
mean?
like Malilah's
Yes,
move against
exactly.
Cyan. Oh, Vera, that is a great idea.
It just, you needed to see stuff that she's previously learned. I don't know. It was just a little bit, it was like, what? Okay, she's dead now.
I always
wonder-
want stuff to be a little bit more intimate,
Yes.
and that doesn't really feel that way.
I also wonder if at some point they, while breaking this episode, they looked at it and said, okay, we have Xena versus Cyan. Later in the episode, we have Xena versus Alti. They decided, they're kind of similar fights in that they're both airborne in the trees.
Right.
I wonder if they deliberately, like, made this one really, like, slender so that they could just have the beefed up Alti fight.
I mean, I understand that, but, like, if you needed her to take Cyan out real fast, again, use stuff that Cyan
Yeah.
has never seen before.
Yeah, it didn't seem, they'd set up this awesome character, really gone out of their way to show that she is really badass, and then just offed her casually.
Yeah. Bummer.
I love Cyan. Give me all the Cyan.
All the
fic.
Cyan!
Yeah. And Cyan is really weird. Like, her outfit makes it seem like they are from, like, Amazon High Times. Like,
It looks
ancient. Ancient. Yeah, it's weird. Like, I don't know.
She
I love
looks
it.
amazing.
She looks amazing. So she, to dying Cyan on that tree, says, Alti offered me a better deal. And then, like, Alti collects her blood.
And Xena's grossed out by that.
Yeah, I like that she has some kind of line here.
Xena's like, that's what you needed? Ugh.
And this is what makes the Amazons somehow trapped
Yeah.
in the land of the dead.
Somehow being the operative word. Just somehow.
It's fine.
Yeah. Whenever we do cut back to them in that windy plateau, it's amazing.
I love that. I love that there's is it
Right
zero?
here, I think.
Yeah, the cut to Cyan and then the Amazons and the wind is blowing and it's just very mournful of
Yeah,
them
they're-
just being
yeah.
together. And you have that in part one where, Xena was like, this is Alti's fault to Cyan and Cyan did that sarcastic, yes, Alti. But like, yeah, of course Alti is a bit of the mastermind here, but Xena killed them all.
Yeah, she
And
might not have
she did-
realized what would happen.
Yes. So they are trapped there because of
because
Xena.
Yes, and Alti is a spiritual parasite, as they say.
That's a good one. I want her to print that on her business cards. Alti, spiritual parasite.
Oh, that's what's so great about sorry, I just looked at my notes and realized that it goes right from Xena's face into this dissolve into Cyan in
Yeah.
the Land of the Dead, and it's really
It's
powerful.
wonderful, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's very necessary.
So
for
wonderful
this
that
plot.
you don't need all the lines that then follow it, where Xena just gives a lot of exposition. Like, I did this, I killed the leaders.
Right.
Because of what Alti took from them, they're stuck in the Land of the Dead. They can't cross over. I'm responsible for it all.
This
You're
is
like,
when she
thanks.
says, this is how she says, like, the Amazons were wiped out because they became easy prey because she killed all their leaders. And, like, so they're all, that's freaking nuts.
Yeah, Xena
that this
literally
is-
destroyed this people.
Oy.
That's why the Amazons are just
This
kind
is
of
so
on
intense.
the fringes.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, guys, I have to say, it is not what the show has been telling us.
It kind of hasn't. I don't know.
They are they're different groups, but they are the Amazons, and they are doing their thing. They are not at all on the fringes yet. We will see that later.
you see that
That's
later. So it's a little.
It's
Maybe
just,
this is.
she really killed this tribe
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Like, just a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. The north. Yeah. This area.
Yeah, northern Amazons are pretty decimated.
Yeah.
So Xena, in a surprising move, puts the pinch on all the girls.
It's so great. I love this just like systematic pinch, pinch, pinch,
yeah,
pinch,
it's
pinch.
pretty great. Nobody, like, everyone just kind of watches it happen.
Oh, and now we get one of my favorite bits of exposition of the mechanics of the episode, which is that she puts the pinch on everyone when we all know that, like, that you can't be that way for very long.
30 seconds.
And so she goes like, in spiritual time, we'll basically have enough time to get everything we need done and get back here in time to undo this pinch situation. Which is so funny because you're just like, oh, phew, spiritual time.
Yeah.
But I mean, also, at the same time, while that is funny and convenient, I buy it.
Yeah, I buy it
Yeah.
too.
She puts the
Spiritual time
yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah. I
She
don't
puts the
think it's
pinch on
not
herself
true.
as well.
Yeah.
Which is
And-
great. We've never seen her do that before, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess not.
I also love how she delivers the line, I'm killing us, sort of. Like, she sort of says that this is another moment where I felt her doubt broke through. She for a second didn't seem like the stoic leader, but more like, yikes, I'm Xena, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yikes, I'm Xena. That's a different show. So, the spirits of the Amazons kind of flirp into Xena.
They flirp, for
Yeah.
sure.
And Alti shows up. So.
Oh my god, Alti like spins into the scene, which is how I plan to make entrances from now on. Just spin in.
And there's our big fight scene between Alti and Xena.
So
occurs.
is this what they were trying to do before as well? Like, enter Xena so Xena could fight? Or is this like a
I
new...
think so.
Yeah.
I think
But
this
they
was
just kept
the
getting
goal.
like screwed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. This scene, guys, is Xena and Alti on some wires, or
Now, yes.
Claire and Lucy, I should say,
Now
on
I
some
know
wires.
you think it's too much flying around as compared to earlier where you had the more grounded kind of hopping lightly from branch to branch.
That was done in a way where it was so realistic seeming that it looked like a skill that she could actually do.
Mm-hmm.
Here it's like it's a little difficult to remove yourself from this is some actors on a wire and then from a really wide
But
shot.
they're in like a different plane of existence. In terms
They are in a different plane of existence. It's shot beautifully in these giant trees. The wide shots of like the stunt people are incredible.
So poetic.
Yeah, and in a way, like this is supposed to be. So if we have Lauma and Xeno fly fucking, this is fly fighting. It's like the opposite. But once they connect, it's like they are so awkward about it.
They're kind of grappling. It's
yeah,
very
they're
sloppy.
like spinning. Yeah, it's sloppy, and it's just like a little like you just want a little bit more grace in this thing.
Is that how Xena and Alti, though? You think they're going to fight gracefully? They're going to fight sloppy.
Lauma would be fighting
I
gracefully.
mean, yeah, you're right. But I wanted something prettier. In general,
for me, there definitely is that thing that can happen with wire work. You bring in the wires because you're like, oh, I want these people to look weightless.
Yeah.
And what can sometimes happen with wires is they make them look real heavy because they're like hanging.
Yes.
So you can kind of see that in the posture sometimes, like, whoa.
and it's like you don't control this part, and it can look a little awk. I don't mind there's some shots where they just spin, and that's totally cool. Like it's
and I love the shots of the trees spinning around them.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
inserts.
It's just like sometimes it's just a little weird. I don't know what I would prefer instead, but it's certainly maybe not quite this.
I think, I think the idea was good, and obviously this whole sequence and the mechanics of this owe a big debt, to Kung Fu, to wuxia movies. But yeah, I guess it's just one of those things where they're flying around in the spirit world, and it's hard to divorce, like, the physicality of those actors with the what should be like these weightless spirits fighting.
And the great thing is that we now see, we see Alti use her powers, which is that whenever she can touch you, whenever she gets her hands on you, she unleashes like your past or your future or whatever.
So cool.
Yeah.
And very like intimate. It's a little bit sexy. It's like I'm mind raping you while we fight.
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, no, it's not.
Yeah. But it's a violation. You know, it's
that's
like
the word.
I'm looking into your dirty laundry while we punch each other.
Right. So in the previous episode with the Berserker, we saw this where she attacked her with like her past, stuff that we've seen. This episode, they give you some stuff that we've never seen before. So we have like all these images from 2 specific episodes that they've shot.
I love this though because this is the most creative way of doing a season. This season on Xena.
I love
Yes.
this. You know, like if you're watching this, you're just like, "What is this?
Yeah, what is
I need to
this?
see this. Well, I love that Alti's reactions are always like, "What was that? Which episode is this from?"
Just literally
Well,
like
we know what episodes they're from. So
Yes.
they have already shot, it seems like, A Good Day and Crusader.
yeah. Which is so weird.
That they're cutting around Najara, sort of being like,
So, like,
"Who's
they're-
this
I mean,
mysterious
they're
person?"
making it seem like such a big deal. And it's like when you watch the episode, well, yes, it's like very
It's
incredible.
a huge deal.
But at the same time, it's like, no, it's not.
Or it's not that they've already shot them, but maybe they shoot in a certain order, and then by the time these 2 go to air, they can edit it in.
Yeah.
I believe
Yeah.
these 2 episodes, the premiere, was shot maybe 7th.
Oh,
so
really?
that they had access to some earlier eps. Yeah.
All right.
How
Dang,
dare
so
the
crazy.
previous episodes not have other stuff to include in this?
Well, it's a bit like the Debts, right? They were shot. It was definitely shot very out of order from the rest of the season because it took, the travel and the prep work. You kind of just have to do it when
And these
you
they
can do it.
travel.
Yeah, too.
Yeah, big time traveling, yeah. So, yeah, it's what you said was really great about how whenever Alti, like, did this, and Xena's like, whoa, Alti's like, what was that all about, Xena? And she's like, that was interesting, huh? Like, literally, that was so
What was that all about is my favorite one.
Here's here's a frame by frame breakdown on my website about what's coming
Oh my
up in your
God.
season.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but like this is really fucking cool. One of the things you're seeing is like crazy fire and beautiful hair whipping around,
Yeah,
which is
slow-mo.
always great.
That's the best one.
Another one,
Yeah.
so the other one would have made me nuts, which was just Xena just like completely getting the shit kicked out of her, which is,
Yeah.
you're like, holy fuck.
They
what's
almost
going
got ya.
Yeah.
And
Right.
then.
Yeah, well,
and
so Alti's whole purpose here is to kill Xena via showing her death.
Right, which is because what her powers do is you experience what's happening
Yeah.
physically in
yes.
those things. So assuming that you show someone their own death, they would feel that and then experience it.
Yeah, you would die from seeing
so-
your own death.
Number one, she got the wrong footage here, but
Yeah,
Vera,
Alti is very, very confused about this.
take it away because the prophecy is upon us, and this
prophecy!
is like your
Yeah.
favorite thing.
So we have these like warm up images, and then we get to the big deal, which is the most glorious scene that we will see so many times in this season, and it is a flash forward to a crucifixion. The scene begins this amazing way where, number one, this whole thing is in slow-mo. It has its own piece of music that goes with
The
it.
slow motion and the
music.
music. The
Yeah.
music is beautiful.
Yeah, it's like a blue color grading. It's snowing. That is not what it sounds like at all.
Absolutely just not right.
It's snowing. We have Romans. They are not dressed for the snow. I feel very
No,
bad for them.
But I love. I don't know how to explain how much I love the way the prophecy stuff is filmed because, like, yes, you have this like amazing shot of Xena reflected. In
it is the
shield.
best. This prophecy, the way this scene was filmed, is actually better than how it actually is in the episode.
Well, you
Because
see,
TJ directed
yes,
this.
yeah.
you see all these different versions of it. Yeah,
Yeah, but this is the best
Some of them
one.
are like lit differently.
Yeah,
which
because
like,
they have to add
yeah.
more and redo.
It's too bad they couldn't bring TJ back just for this, just to keep adding to this
This
scene.
Yeah.
This is kind of the best one because of when they look at each other. Well, we're not there yet, but like I'm talking about my experience of like going through this footage from bidding, and it's just like that was the most like everyone's eyes looked the best, and like everybody was just like, ooh, it's
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
Anyway, I was just gonna say I just love that it's so striking in terms of how you can feel the coldness,
Yeah.
like the blue color grading and the snow and everything about it, but like what actually happens in it, even though it's horrible in this moment at the beginning of the season, is so awesome and kind of happy making, even though what you're seeing, there's a disconnect.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue to explain.
Yes. So it starts with a very shiny, reflective Roman shield kind of being picked up, and what you see in it is Xena being lowered onto a cross. So you see that Xena is there. That's
And she's
the first
being
thing
almost
you see.
like dragged. It looks very violent.
She's just being put down,
Yeah.
lowered. Then the guy walks over, and you see that there's another body there, and we're revealed a Gabrielle is there.
And she's already nailed to a cross?
She's not.
She's just tied.
She's
She's
tied. They're
tied.
both tied,
Yeah.
and they're getting ready to nail them.
They're getting
I see.
ready.
Yeah.
I love the pan up because you're just like, who is this? What is this?
Yeah.
And it very quickly becomes clear, but I love how there's just so many questions. Like, number one, well, why is this happening? Like, number two, that they're just wearing these like rags, like
Yeah.
these bloody, dirty rags. And then the biggest question of all,
Her hair.
is fucking short.
Seraphim got to her.
Seraphim.
It's so short. That must have, I mean, I would have lost my mind. If I didn't know what was going to happen already, I would have been like,
Yeah.
oh my God!
So yeah, as previously mentioned in the episode before, in our last episode, I lost my fucking mind with this flash forward or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I lost it. Like my mind grapes exploded, all of them, because this was just like, whoa, everything of my interest is happening here, but also like, whoa, Gabrielle's dead. She's here now? What's gonna happen? Oh my God. I mean, in a way, Xena feels the same way.
Yeah. Xena, we'll talk about it in a second. We'll put a pin in for now. But, like, Xena's reaction to this is amazing.
Yeah. So we have Gabrielle, and she's looking at Xena, and they're both on this two crosses.
I wrote, they look at each other with eyes that they have.
They sure do have eyes, and they are looking.
But this is the best those eyes have ever looked.
Oh,
like
yeah.
they just seem to glow with love. Like it's such an emotional
And
moment.
It's incredible.
As you say earlier, that the episode had kind of been missing
Yes.
this. I don't know that I needed it earlier so much in the sense that when you get this here and it's a surprise and just this huge moment and it just all is this package of amazing with the music and the looking and the dialogue, it's just
different.
so
Like, it's
wonderful
different here.
to get to it after this whole
You
two-episode
had
journey.
spider gabs.
I mean, I know.
Already ruining things beforehand. I don't know. I would have preferred no spider gabs. I still would have preferred some kind of like Xena, Gabrielle hallucination. That would have been fine. Where she was like, I'm not even going to find you anymore or whatever. You're like, I'm letting go or something like that. I don't know. And then you have like this, which was like, oh my God, never mind. She's alive. Kind of thing. This is amazing. So, like, let's just continue talking about this.
And the dialogue.
Yes.
The dialogue. Gabrielle, you're the best thing in my life. And the little, I love you, Xena.
Patented Gabrielle.
This is
I
the-
love you, Xena.
This is, I feel like, the most. This is king of the soft voices. This is just like the ultimate moment of it.
I cannot handle Renee's
This is a
delivery
show.
of
Oh
I
my
love
God.
yous to Xena.
I know.
Because they're always like at the worst moments.
Oh my
They're
God.
amazing. And she just says them so well. It's just, oh my God, I cannot handle it.
He's two. Jeez Louise.
And then the nail comes down on Xena's hand.
Right. And then you see her in the Now Times-ish getting,
The wound.
the
Yeah.
stigmata.
stigmata
Yes,
hands.
Right. Whoa.
It's so, and yeah, I love that shot of her hand on the ground
Yeah.
and you see the blood. Cool.
Yeah, her real hand, not
Yeah.
even her dream.
Right, her
spirit
real hand. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and also Alti is like, having like there's a shot of her also
This
passed
is
out.
very complicated storytelling. I know we're kind of being a little down on this episode in terms of some of the issues that don't connect and how there is a lot going on, but right now there's a flash forward. Alti and Xena in a spiritual land and then Xena in the present. There's like a lot of stuff going on. It's very complicated, very cool narrative that's happening here.
Right, so you have these nails being driven through Xena's hands on, kind of on 3 different planes of
Yeah.
existence right
Yeah.
now.
Right. It's pretty cool.
So cool.
And Alti's like, whoa, how does that make you feel, Xena, seeing your little friend dying with you?
And she says,
Good. I love that so much. I don't know why. I just love it's like good. So funny. I love it.
And she says, because if she's dying, then
if
that
she's
means-
dying in my future, it means she's alive!
Yeah.
It's such an amazing line. It's just so triumphant. Like, I love that you go from this vision that makes you go, what the fuck? This is so beautiful and romantic, but oh my god, are they dying? Like, oh no.
Can you also say, we haven't said that. It's romantic. It's absolutely so romantic. The music is romantic. They're saying I love each other. The best thing in my life. It's just, fuck.
Yeah.
Help.
I have an essay from Whoosh written by a contributor named William James called The Dreaded Crucifixion Vision, the DCV, which I think is what the fandom called this vision throughout season 4, or Sex at Last. That's the name of the essay.
Interesting.
In it, he posits that we should interpret the vision as a dream language consummation of Xena and Gabrielle's feelings. That through this shared pain of being crucified together, they are finally, like, that is a sex act for them.
Yikes.
It's just...
Wow. I mean, it is intimate.
It's very intimate.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Because if we previously equated Xena's own crucifixion to a sort of rape scene by Caesar.
Right.
You know?
So here they're sort of going through it together.
Yeah.
So it feels not like, it obviously is upsetting, but I feel like that is so dwarfed by just the romantic power of this moment. You feel that they transcend, like, the physical hardship that they're enduring because their love is that powerful.
That is what's happening, absolutely.
It's like, is this the Thelma and Louise jump almost?
Kinda, yeah.
That's good, yeah. I think so.
So Xena now has invigorated and beats up Alti midair.
She does this, like, bicycle kick that goes on so long. She does the whole Tour de France. Just boom, 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 boom.
all the different levels of Tour de France. Yep. And throws her into the tree, just like Cyan, and kills her, and has a line.
I like this line.
I
She's
don't-
like, now you know your future, and she drops the mic.
But wouldn't she have known her future already?
Maybe not.
Why?
I don't
Why
know.
wouldn't
'Cause
she have
can't-
known her own future?
She can't throttle herself.
She can't?
That's unclear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Certainly, if she knew she was going to die this way, would she ever have engaged with Xena in this spiritual
I
battle?
don't know. Ugh, this episode has problems.
It's so great up here, though. Like, all the ideas are
It's
really
so
great.
interesting, yeah. I feel like we're only being hard on it because all the raw material is so good.
Yeah, and part 1 is so good.
And part 1 is the greatest. So Xena wakes up back in the real world and goes around taking the pinch off all the Amazons, so they're fine. The music here has changed. To me, it felt a bit like church choir, like Catholic church.
Yeah, it does. It does feel very different than everything we've heard so far. It's a like female choir sound.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the sound of Alti's defeat.
I get, yeah.
I guess.
More like Western music.
Oh,
I don't know what that means.
I have no idea. Well, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I do love that it's these female voices, you know, and it feels very
Cleansing.
yeah,
Optimistic.
yeah.
And she tells Yakut that the new Amazon holy word is love.
Surprise.
Love.
Who's surprised? Nobody.
And Cyan and company, they are released. They
Yay.
suddenly feel it. They're like, oh my god, we can enter.
How does the
Eternity.
holy word like work?
We
It's
don't
not-
know.
Don't ask. Don't even think about it. It goes away. Nobody
Okay.
mentions it ever again.
Okay. Well, anyway, it's great. They get to cross over into the
Yes.
volcano.
And the shots of them crossing are so gorgeous. Like just
Beautiful
that group
lighting.
walking
Yeah.
into the sunset.
very
Tree
nice.
Girl is just losing her shit over
Yeah.
this good news, which I thought was hysterical because Tree Girl has only been there for a day.
Yeah.
Like Tree Girl should not be the most excited.
And then our Amazon girls are doing their Return of the Jedi party. dancing around the fire, all happy.
It's weird because this fire looked the same as the fire that the Amazon leaders had built to honor their little dead redhead, and I was like, who died? Who is this a funeral for?
Well, it's also just like a big, s'mores fire.
I guess so. Just like a really big. You're
S'mores
like,
fire?
Yeah,
you're,
s'mores
you're
fire.
toasting
for
like,
lots of s'mores.
Yeah.
Did you already call this the Return of the Jedi?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
They're just very happy dancy around it. And then, another confounding line from Xena where she takes Soteria aside and is like, hey, you fulfilled that prophecy. You have taken my power.
As leader of the Amazons.
What?
Was Xena leader of the Amazons
No.
before this?
Well, they were like, hey, Xena, you're pretty cool. You're taller than all of us. Why don't you be the leader, I guess? We'll follow you.
She means like just now, these last couple
Yeah.
days,
Yep.
and now Terry will take that place. It's very flimsy, and then also TJ and company agree. Is that correct?
I think RJ
RJ?
has said that he has since reviewed this episode and looked at that and said, like, yeah, that is really unsatisfying as a solution to this
they kind of
prophecy.
just wrote that in and didn't quite know how to get out of there.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why they even included this prophecy
Yeah, that
about
was
Oteri in
not-
the first place.
I think they were just trying to make this character of Oteri interesting and mysterious and, a cool
Couldn't
doom
she have
prophecy.
been interesting because she was in the room with Xena and Barais when she
I
was
think
small?
so, yeah,
That's
that was
it.
enough. That would have
We
been
didn't need a
enough.
crazy
Yeah.
prophecy about her. Oh my gosh. Well, I did like that when Xena leaves, Oteri gives her the Amazon honor
Yeah.
salute.
And
the
it looked
double
very, she made it look very cool. Like,
Yeah.
power to you, girl, bye.
tap. Yeah, I mean, I like that she honored her at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cute. And
That's true without her seeing.
Yeah.
Xena looking at her stigmata hands and just being so elated
Gabrielle!
because it's real and Gabrielle's
Yeah, I
alive.
love when she just wakes up out of the Ultivision and looks at them and goes, Gabrielle.
Yeah. It's so great.
She has never been more excited to have a death prophecy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I mean,
She's gonna
she'll
deal with that later.
Yeah. I mean, this is okay. Let's stop. Put a pin in take out my pin rather about Xena's reaction to this, which I just love. I just love that she's so happy to have this thing. Meanwhile, I think for us viewers, the other shoe has dropped and we're like, oh no, this is a bad thing, Xena. I love that the show has kind of solved the problem of Gabrielle's death with a new problem, which
Right.
is she gonna die later.
With Xena.
With Xena.
Both of them.
I just think that's really strong storytelling. This is obviously going to be the engine that propels you through the whole season. I just think it's really confident and awesome.
It's
because,
amazing.
Yeah, it's so Xena to be like, I've solved my problems in the short term, and that's all that matters right now.
Yeah. And just really confident structure by our filmmakers here because, I mean, this was really unheard of, plotting out your season
And to have
so far in advance.
quote unquote footage from your season
Yes,
finale.
exactly. It was what?
In your season premiere. Yeah. I mean,
That's really unheard of.
That's really, really, yeah. I wonder if that's been done on another show, because I'd love to be
Yeah.
able to say that Xena did that first.
Right. It's just so powerful. Oh my goodness. And Xena is ready to go home.
Epic music, riding off
Through the
to
plains,
find her girl.
going
Yep.
back to Greece.
To Greased.
To the greased lightning.
Yeah. It's really great. Lone Rider riding off.
All right.
So that's the end of this episode.
Well,
We sort of made, our feelings known. I mean, I would like to unpin all my pins about Alti. I was grappling with my feelings about what I find a little bit unsatisfying, and I find that it's really unsatisfying that we disposed of her in this one. She's technically
she
dead.
could be
I know.
done.
I understand that she's very heavily on the spirit side, that's her jam.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I would have liked a live Alti a bit more,
Yeah.
and I would have definitely liked to see how long did Alti stay with Xena? All these questions about past Xena and Alti's relationship, which I would have really, really liked to see a lot more of. Because, so she killed the Amazons and what? Then she rode
She's
off
like,
with
you better
Barais?
make good on your bargain. And we're like, okay, so that's it?
Right?
What happens next?
I think it would have been cool if she, traveled with Xena and Barais. I know Barais hates her, but, whatever,
something a little more personal between
Yeah,
them.
Yeah.
The
because
thing
she
that-
has such an influence over her, you know?
The thing that makes, like, Callisto probably everyone's
Right.
favorite villain or antagonist to Xena is that their relationship is so intensely personal between them.
Yeah.
So you don't really have that kind of thing.
But
they
there's
have a
such an
history,
opening.
and they did all this intense stuff together that basically got Xena to be the worst murderer that she's ever been.
Right.
And you kind of are missing just a little bit. You're missing
There's an opening
stuff.
here to make that relationship personal in the sense that this was a woman, let's say, who
And she cursed her
influenced
son.
her.
That sucks.
I
That's
mean,
pretty
yeah,
personal, but,
like she didn't know that
that's
at
not-
the time.
yeah.
Like we just should have seen a relationship with them of like an evil, like here's another mentor who's like
Yeah.
evil.
There
you
just
know?
should have been more of a, I don't know, yeah, personal stakes somehow, some kind of emotional connection between them. You felt like all of Alti's scenes were just about like negotiating with Xena, and even though
Yeah.
she was kind of using these cards, you know, these like, you know, you and I are the same. She kept
Yeah.
saying stuff
Right.
like that and pointing her finger in that way you like,
I
Vera.
love it.
But it didn't really, it wasn't that convincing. You never really saw that.
In all of the big two-parters where you get the Xena backstories, there's usually a single female character that is important. So this one had to share screen time with Alti and Cyan to have the like light side, dark side, I guess,
Yeah.
battle. And maybe that kind of made it not have enough time for either of them to be as amazing as as
Or
Lama.
Lama.
Yeah, or something like that.
It just sucks. At the end of the day, it's like Alti has the capability of being as rich of a character as a Lama.
Well, she gets more episodes.
I
of course,
know,
later.
but like, do you find out more about her life?
Never.
You know, you never do, and that's what's
No.
missing. It's just she's always like, I'm evil and
have
I'm
a
here.
voice. I talk and I croak.
But like, you don't know who she is as a person, and that's what
Yeah.
makes it like extra powerful. You
Yeah.
know, these were the Amazons that kicked her out. Like, I don't even know really. You know, like they have a crazy history with her. Like, what was the incident that made them get rid of her?
Cyan's reaction to her is so intense. I feel like there was definite bad blood, like personal bad blood between those two. One of them is Taylor and one of them is Katy Perry, and I think we know who's who. I wanted to know. Like, I feel like this episode hints at all sorts of interesting little character things, but none of it, it's all very surface. You
Yeah.
don't quite get underneath these people's skin.
Yeah, and that's what we should have had, and I wish we did. I mean, I still love Alti, and I definitely think her powers are really cool, but
Totally.
I think it would have been extra amazing, like she would have been as interesting if there was just slightly more, like, actual personal stuff between her and Xena, or just, like, her as a character, you know, just in general, as a person, not just, like, a crazy spirit thing.
No, yeah, I agree.
But you know the prophecy, guys. This
The
episode
prophecy, it's all about the
amazing.
prophecy.
This episode gets like 1,000,000 points for that 2 minutes. Like
Yeah.
it's just like Sacrifice Part 2, where you're like, yeah, like the whole episode, it's fine. Those last 2 minutes are so stellar. It's just like, who cares about the rest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That wraps it up.
No, it doesn't.
No, it does not.
Oh, kids. We're not leaving this episode yet without putting what I consider to be a massively large pin into the crux of the episode, which is Xena making a choice based on Gabrielle teaching her stuff to do a thing to save souls trapped in a limbo land from being stuck in the limbo
Limbo
land.
That's a very specific scenario.
Is it a very
It wouldn't
specific
occur to you
scenario?
that scenario could repeat
Really?
in some other form.
It wouldn't.
No.
I don't. We've talked a lot already. I don't want to like go off on a like crazy tangent because this is too huge of a topic for the very end of this podcast and or just the show in general. But I so pin in it.
Pin in it.
Pinning in it.
Pin in it.
Too drunk for it as well, maybe. What this episode does really great with that is make you see what actions kind of led to the situation and that you know the people. That I find that is interesting, and as a note, as well as the fact that since we have this as a situation, we understand it and we understand Xena making these decisions. Yeah, this is hard to say, but I feel like it is good that we have seen this situation happen.
I agree.
And
I'm
play
glad.
out.
I'm glad you put your pin in it. We will take your pin out eventually, and we can discuss the parallels.
Okay.
Okay, that wraps it up.
Okay, goodbye.
Wow.
Bye.
Leaving them with something real cheerful.
I'm gonna get another beer, I think.
You can watch Cyan on Cleopatra at 25:45.
And you can follow us on stuff and listen to us in all the places. XenaWarriorPodcast.com is our website. You can listen to episodes there. You can also subscribe on Apple Podcasts and rate and leave reviews, which are super, super great. They're like fuel for us. I love getting reviews and hearing your guys' thoughts. We are on Stitcher and Google Play as well. And you can follow us on Twitter at XenaWarriorPod, Tumblr, and Facebook at Xena Podcast. And then also, if you want to hear more good stuff, you might want to consider checking us out on Patreon, patreon.com/XenaWarriorPodcast.
The power.
The passion.
The podcast!